Noah Lyles just set the sprinting world on fire with one bold statement. In a recent interview, the Olympic 100-meter champion openly questioned whether track and field has failed to create real rivalries for fans to care about. He pointed to the past, compared it to the present, and challenged the entire sport to do better. This was not trash talk or hype. It was a direct call-out that reframed how sprinting rivalries are built, sold, and remembered today. He's not talking about stats or medals. He's talking about meaning. In an era where sports live or die by the narratives that connect fans to athletes, Lyles believes track and field is falling dangerously behind. Think Ali versus Frazier, Messi versus Ronaldo, LeBron versus Steph. These rivalries weren't just about who won, they were sagas. They had emotion, backstory, and cultural impact. That's what makes people care. And for Lyles, sprinting needs that now more than ever. I think that if a rivalry is cared for in the correct manner, then yes, it can be good, Lyles explained. But calling every competition of an athlete going up against another athlete a rivalry is not the same. There has to be a story, there has to be a purpose, there has to be intent. It's a powerful statement from someone who lives in the spotlight, and it hits at something deeper, an uncomfortable truth about where the sport stands today. Because for all the records broken and medals won, Lyles says, sprinting lacks the soul-stirring tension that makes casual fans tune in, take sides, and remember the moment forever. That's what made Bolt versus Gatlin so unique. It wasn't just two runners, it was two worlds colliding. When Lyles brought up Bolt and Gatlin, he wasn't just reminiscing, he was making a point. I'd say the Usain Bolt versus Justin Gatlin was probably the biggest, most memorable one in track and field recently, he said. For a little while, there was the Shawnee Miller-Weibo versus Allison Felix rivalry, but even with those, they're not really rivalries. They just happen to show up at the same track meets. And that's exactly the issue. Presence alone doesn't equal rivalry. There needs to be narrative buildup, emotional investment, maybe even a bit of drama. But in track and field, that's rarely fostered. So what made Bolt versus Gatlin so different? To Lyles, it wasn't just their speed, it was the stakes. Gatlin, returning from a suspension, was seen by many as the villain. Bolt, the charismatic showman with an unshakable confidence, was the hero. The media ran with the contrast. Fans chose sides. The tension was palpable. That's what made it matter. Track didn't manufacture that rivalry, it stumbled into it. And even then, Lyles believes it wasn't pushed to its full potential. I don't think they got everything they could have got out of these, he noted. They could have been pushed so much more. The takeaway? Track and field doesn't just need better rivalries, it needs better storytellers. In a world where fans crave emotional investment, sports that build drama flourish. And Lyles, more than most, understands this. He's built his own brand around performance, not just on the clock, but in front of the crowd. He doesn't walk into a stadium, he arrives. Whether it's through his electrifying entrances, his mid-race roars, or his post-finish line celebrations, Noah Lyles brings energy that transcends the stopwatch. But don't mistake it for arrogance or trash talk. It's something else entirely. I do it for myself. This is for me and the audience, he said. I want everybody to have a good time. I want everybody to be excited when they come and watch me perform. That mindset has made him one of track's most charismatic stars. He's not just a sprinter, he's a performer, a personality, and perhaps the only current athlete actively trying to breathe life into a sport that too often forgets the showbiz element. When they leave, I want them to say, I would have never got that type of energy if I just watched it on TV. Like, that was amazing. I want to come back for more. It's this sense of showmanship combined with his critique of the current state of rivalries that reveals what Lyles really wants. He doesn't just want to win. He wants fans to feel something when they watch him run. And that's the difference. Many athletes focus on the time, the title, the records. But Lyles sees the bigger picture. He sees a sport that needs connection between athletes and fans, between races and meaning. Without that connection, he says, people just won't care. When somebody has a dog in the fight, they're more entertained and more willing to participate, Lyles explained. When you have no reason to cheer, you have no reason to care. That one quote might sum up his entire mission. It's not enough to be fast. You have to make people want to watch you be fast, and not just once, but over and over again. You have to give them a reason to pick sides, to feel the tension, to stay glued to every stride, like it actually means something beyond time. Lyles knows this firsthand. As the reigning world champion in both the 100 meters and 200 meters, he's been on top. But his real focus isn't just staying there, it's keeping the fans coming back. And he knows he can't do it alone. That's why this conversation about rivalries matters, because for all the talent in the current generation, something's still missing, something emotional, something bigger than just a race, and unless the sport figures that out, Lyles warns it will keep falling short of its potential. He's not suggesting drama for drama's sake. He's asking for intention, conflicts that build over time, that make each showdown feel like a chapter in a larger story. Because that's what turns a sprint into a saga. Look at other sports. Messi versus Ronaldo wasn't just about goals, it was about legacy, loyalty, passion. Ali versus Frazier wasn't just punches, it was pride, politics, and pain. LeBron versus Steph isn't just stats, it's styles, strategy, eras. Track and field, by contrast, has mostly failed to create those arcs. It's not that rivalries don't exist, it's that they're not cultivated, not told, not celebrated, and that, more than anything, is what frustrates Noah Lyles. He sees the potential. He lives it. He is it. Now he wants others to rise with him. Because imagine what sprinting could become if the next great rivalry was built correctly, if the next Bolt versus Gatlin wasn't an accident, but an intentional, well-told saga that gripped the world. Imagine a storyline that made every race must-see, not just for fans of the sport, but for casual viewers who want to be part of something bigger. Imagine two athletes with clashing personalities, battling not just for medals, but for legacy, turning every race into a global event that fans debate, rewatch, and remember for years. That's the vision Lyles is calling for. And in doing so, he's laying down a challenge, not just to his fellow sprinters, but to the media, the federations, the storytellers, to anyone who plays a role in shaping the narrative of the sport. Track and field should embrace narrative the way other sports do, he said, and he's right, because without stories, even the fastest races fade. But with them, they live forever. Looking ahead, Lyles isn't just focused on his own career. He's dreaming about LA 2028, the chance to run in front of a home crowd to bring that energy to the world stage. Just thinking about it gives him goosebumps, and if he has anything to do with it, those races won't just be fast, they'll be unforgettable. In a sport obsessed with seconds, Noah Lyles is asking us to think bigger. He's asking us to care. And maybe, just maybe, that's how sprinting becomes more than a race. It becomes a movement.